third best at the University of Utah. Michaela Skinner. She's amazing. And, you know, here's the thing that amazes me about Skinner. She has never missed a routine. She was 122 out of 122 when we saw them down at Tempe last week. And yeah, those four, and so 126 out of 126 going into the meet tonight against Arizona.
And some of the most difficult gymnastics you'll see in collegiate gymnastics. It's unbelievable to watch.
Yeah, she has to challenge herself, right? She upgrades. She added a new release move this year on bars, so always making it tougher on herself. You see the rankings there and the standings with our two combatants tonight. Washington is the number 12 team, although they are coming off a loss at home against Oregon State. Washington's two losses this year, at number 8 Nebraska and at home number 20 Oregon State. Ebony Roberson, season high scores so far as we go now to the vault, which you can see is her weakest event. Now, a lot of gymnasts, especially all-arounders, will spend more time in training working on their weakest event because you want to prop that one up. Everything else seems to be fine. She's getting 9.9s or better on the other scores.
Well, I think the most difficult part about being a consistent all-around gymnast is balancing training 4 different events and making sure that you're still contributing where your team needs you. I think on this event, it's all about power, but it's also about those landings. And at this point in the season, that's where you really start to make up ground on the vault.
Roberson, 4 wins this year. She has 10 in her career. She's been in the all-around in every meet so far. And this is that time of the year when coaches sometimes will take an all-arounder and say, how about you sit 1 rotation out, we'll just go with 3. Case in point, Kyla Ross was here last week for UCLA and competed in just 3 events. But Roberson will stay in, and talking with the Washington people, they said she did it last year. In fact, the regular season, I think 9 out of 10 meets, she was in the all-around. So she's used to it, and some gymnasts actually feed off of it.
Yeah, it sounds like that's the case for her, that she's really come into her own this year. And this junior class, you can see they have a deep junior class. They also have a lot of freshmen. They've really gelled really well together. And the coaches were saying they want the leaders to continue to lead. So the last thing you want to do is take her out of the lineups where she's really contributing as she sets this team up.
And Washington lost Haley Burleson, who led the team in wins the last 2 years to graduation. Jocelyn Going's gone, Zoe Schaefer. So, of course, it's collegiate athletics, so there's always going to be graduations and transfers and that kind of thing. And so rotations will change throughout the year and from year to year. So Washington will be on the vault. And statistically, their weakest event ranked just 23rd, but they have a couple of winners here. Thompson has won twice this year. In fact, she's won the last 2 meets. We'll get to her later in the rotation.
Big vault for Amara Cunningham. Lots of power. She's a tall gymnast, so she has a nice long line. Came in a little bit high, and you saw that small leg separation. I always laugh that we get to see it in slow motion. Sometimes the judges don't see all of the details that we get to see in that slow motion view.
And Cunningham has yet to hit 9.8 on that event. We'll check the score here. Taylor Lawson leading off on the bars for Stanford, ranked just 34th as a team.
Nice combination work. It took her feet, came apart just a hair. Combination there again, toe fall. Came off a little early. Wow, great save. You can see she had a lot of distance between the high bar and where she landed. That momentum, she knew exactly what to do. She pulled those feet down, but you'll see a pretty good step forward, but much better than letting those knees go down or even touching the mat. So a couple tenths there on that landing.
Sorry, Amanda. Lawson has hit 9.75 twice this year on the event, but just like Cunningham before her, still hasn't hit the 9.8 mark. Cunningham 9.75, decent start. Cunningham will also lead off the floor in the 3rd rotation for the Gym Dogs. Here is Monica Riley. We saw Riley get a 9.775 on bars to open the meet.
Yurchenko with that half twist. Anytime you land in that forward position, it's a much more challenging landing. You can't see the mat prior to landing. We call that a blind landing. So you're going to see as she's finishing the flip, she's actually looking either at the ceiling or out into the fans. So you have to have great body awareness, knowing where you're at so that you bend your knees in time and have control there.
her best on that vault so far this year, 9.775. She's received that score twice. Only a 9.575 for Lawson, so lots of pressure now on the final 5 here. They want to go 5 for 5 with better scores. Here's a bar specialist, Grace Wagaspak, a freshman from Lake Mary down in Florida. Twice has gone 9.8.
This is a young bar lineup. Every athlete is a freshman or a sophomore, minus 1 junior. So learning to handle pressure is very important.
11 underclassmen of 17 gymnasts, 19 if you count everybody that's on the roster, but it's bottom heavy.
Oh, a little bit close on that dismount, also came up a hair short. You know, I think for this team, a lot of it is recovering from the mistakes. So nice combination work there. On the dismount, she pulled the bar just a little bit, so it brought her in a little bit close and kind of stalled her rotation out. Again, great save, knowing how to get your feet down on that landing, but you could see she came down in that pretty deep squat.
Back-to-back 9.75s. They hand off to Madison Kopiak. Remember, Maddie had some trouble on the bars in the first rotation, looks to redeem herself here. She has a win on the vault, has hit 9.8 twice and won at Arizona. Holds on to that landing.
Yeah, she went into that vault wanting a stick. You could see. Oh, they threw money here on the runway in front of us, too. I don't know what's happening. I got distracted.
You might have to excuse me for a second. I need cab fare.
She had that small leg separation, but definitely a great vault.
There they are, throwing some fake money, we should point out, on the runway. That's great. I've never seen that before. Well, the scores are going in the right direction, but they started pretty low. Wagaspak just a 9.675, and Stanford needs to rally right here on the bars. Elisa Yu had a good rotation on vault with a 9.825, second highest score.
Beautiful amplitude, back down to the low bar, holding that handstand.
All 3 of her bars this year, 9.8 or better. They need one here.
Beautiful lines, finishing that combination, small hop back, but a very good routine.
You know, against UCLA last week with 7,000 record crowd and this young team, I just felt like Stanford was trying a little bit too hard to be perfect last week instead of just letting their gymnastics flow. But I'm starting to see a little bit of that again. I thought they'd be much more relaxed tonight.
Well, I think some of that is 11 underclassmen, so you got to get out there and experience what it's like.
So a 9.775 for Kopiak. Ebony Roberson. Roberson had a 9.825 top score for Washington to open the meet on bars.
Lots of power.
Remember, this is her weakest event.
Yeah, that was a pretty good vault. She had good speed coming into the table. Nice position, legs glued together, straight body. Pretty clean, just that small hop on the landing.
Well, we say weakest event. We should say it's a weak event, right? It's just by comparison
No,
to
you're
the
always
other 3.
tough.
I know.
Have you ever done the vault, Jim?
No, but I've done beam this year.
That's right. That's right.
9.7 for Elisa Yu. Again, the numbers are creeping up, but boy, Stanford really needs to go here on the bars. This has been an event that's been a bugaboo for them this year. It's their weakest. But they are 5-2 against 7 opponents this year. They're 5-2 on bars, and sometimes those numbers can be misleading, but they've gotten just enough at the right times.
Kyla Bryant, she's a great competitor. Nice sharp movements, nailing these handstands. Beautiful technique, transitioning down to the low bar.
She had a 9.875 on this routine against UCLA in this building on Sunday. Lover cast all the way up.
She needs a great landing here, double layout.
Oh, long dart on the landing.
Beautiful routine. That should be a great score, and exactly what Stanford needs right now. They need to pick up the momentum. She had beautiful form throughout this routine, nailing every single handstand, finished huge double layout, sticks it. She's a little bit lean back, so they might take an off-balance deduction there, but Very clean routine.
Yeah, she is so much fun to watch. Not only are her gymnastics elite, but it's just her joy and her energy and the happiness, and she runs to celebrate with her teammates. She has just accepted that leadership role.
And she loves this. You can see that. She loves competing gymnastics.
Roberson got a 9.8 for Washington. Here's Geneva Thompson, who went 9.775 on the bars to start things.
Nice height. Step back there on the landing, but great amplitude. She really came into that table at a low angle. That really helped get that block right here, straight up off the table.
This has been a great event for Geneva Thompson. She has won the last 2 weeks. She had a 9.85 against Oregon State. She had a 9.8 against Arizona. Both of those were the best marks in those meets. And we'll find out what her score is here. 9.85 for Kyla Bryant. First time tonight, Madison Burnett, the freshman from Seattle. So competing for Stanford against her hometown University of Washington. Had a 9.7 on this event against UCLA Sunday.
Nice combination work. Variety of skills connected together. Get you those bonus tens. Double layout, big step back.
That's her only event. It was against UCLA as well. She's not listed in anything in the last two rotations.
Nice release combination, connected down to the low bar, finishing with that double layout. She piped it down a little bit, didn't need to, but because she piped it down, it caused a little too much rotation, had to take that big step back.
So Washington had listed Kristen Hoffa on vault tonight, and it was going to be her first vault of the year, but now they have scratched her.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks in a row they've only put 5 vaulters up.
And that means they are electing to count, well, every score for them now. So, yeah, I guess they figured they had enough. I mean, I'm looking at the scores are actually pretty good all the way around. They didn't want to chance it with Hoffa.
Well, she's only been practicing 3 to 4 times on the vault. So you have to wonder if they think, well, it's maybe not worth it at this point early in the season.
And now you see exactly what Elise Ray was thinking, right? She says, I'll put her 6th. If I need her, she goes. If I don't need her, we scratch her. No, don't force it. You wonder if Kristen's saying, I could have done something. I could have contributed. I had a 9.85 in my pocket. But you want to keep people healthy? They got their scores. And remember, you only have to compete 5. Meantime, Tabitha Yim is over talking to the judges as well. So Rachel Flam was scheduled to go last for Stanford, and she's going to make a change. Yeah. Wesley Stevenson is going to go for Stanford, so this is a very late change. This is like a pinch hitter.
Well, I did see both of them warming up, so I was wondering what the plan was. You know, Rachel Flam has a lot of difficulty, and she's kind of struggling with some consistency, so I think maybe just giving her that extra time.
So for Stevenson, this has not been an easy event for her. Had a 9.65 at the NorCal. That was early in the year. Had a fall at Sacramento State and did not compete on bars against UCLA. So you see the scores. 9.575 would be the low right now, and they're looking for something better from Wesley. Freshman from Naperville, Illinois, just outside of Chicago.
Oh, wow. That is always a tough start. First skill of the routine, she does that in combination, so she may have to repeat it right here. Into the release. Oh, wow. Now she's going to re-chalk up.
Well, she gets some time here, and, you know, you were an elite gymnast, you're never in college, and I've talked to collegiate gymnasts before about this, and they often talk about, you know, that when you're a freshman and you're competing now for a team rather than yourself, it actually bothers you more that you don't come through.
Wow.
You see Chris Warzek in his 15th season, he's had a lot of freshmen. He comes over and says, listen, calm down, let's just get back on the bars, let's get a clean routine and post a score.
Yeah, that's always tough. She's in an anchor position. They haven't had the best rotation, so you add all those things together, and it's just a lot of pressure. Of course, started out the routine with a very easy skill.
And we have to wonder when she was told, because we found out the last second. Now, maybe she was told earlier, you're on deck, but getting that green light that you're up next, maybe she didn't have enough time to mentally prepare for it.
Double layout.
And listen, a couple of years from now, I bet Tabitha Emmons says, do you remember that night against Washington when you were a freshman and how much you grew from that place?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's how you get better, is make the mistakes and learn from them.
So a couple of strange rotations with the scratch for Hoffa at the end of the Washington rotation and a substitution for Stanford. We'll add up the scores through 2 rotations. Halfway home at Maples.